Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Webster, and I'd like to talk to you about effective leadership. See, leadership is all around us. We're either being led or we're leading every day. So I would like to share with you some benefits of effective leadership, what a company can do to ensure leadership success, what you can do as a leader to improve your leadership skills. And then we'll take a look at behavioral leadership styles. The ones we'll look at are task-oriented leadership, relationship-oriented leadership, passive leadership, and transformational leadership. One of the early theories of business leadership styles was the great man theory. This theory said that great leaders were born. They had leadership DNA built into them, and that if you didn't have this DNA, you were pretty much just left out to dry. Leadership was not in the cards for you. This theory stayed popular until the mid-20th century, at which time trait theory came into play. Trait theory said, yes, leaders have characteristics, but they did not believe that these characteristics were inborn, but that they were developed over time through experiences. This is a nice bridge between great man theory and the behavioral style of leadership, because behavioral style says we can develop leadership skills, where trait theory says you have them because of the life you've lived, and great man theory says you have them because you were born with them. So why is leadership important? More, in fact, why is effective leadership important? Well, without it, employees become disengaged. Implicit leadership theory says that people have a preconceived idea of what a leader should look like, how a leader should act, and what the relationship between the leader and the follower should be like. And when there's a disconnect between this preconceived idea and what you actually see at work, you become disengaged. This disengagement can lead to reduced productivity as well as employee retention. Because when you're disengaged, it can take many faces. You can simply not give your best at work, or you can be working on an exit strategy while looking for another job. So how do we hire effective leaders? How do we ensure our leadership is effective? Well, the most important place to start would be the beginning. Hire effective leaders. So the hiring manager should look for traits that are typically in good leaders. Some of those traits are intelligence, consideration, being open to new ideas, and emotional stability. Some other traits that good leaders have is they're typically extroverts. They are agreeable, they have good communication skills, and they also have high emotional intelligence. But just like good traits, there's some bad traits out there, and traits that don't do well for effective leaders. Those are narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. These are bad traits for a leader to have because they tend to focus on the individual, and a good leader focuses on their team, increasing influence, and influence is very important in leadership. So we're going to look at some behavioral leadership styles, and one thing to keep in mind as we do this, though, is that a leader shouldn't just lead in one style. In fact, contingency theory says that a leader should flow in and out of different styles, because a leader should use the style that's appropriate for the situation and the people that they're leading. But the first style we're going to look at is task-oriented and transactional leadership. Now, this leadership style closely resembles managing, and so it's a natural starting point for someone who's recently been promoted to a leadership position. It resembles managing because there's a lot of task-oriented processes in this leadership style. But this style also initiates structure, and that's what sets it apart. That's what makes it a leadership style. The next style we'll look at is relationship-oriented or servant leadership. This is a very positive leadership style, very strong in ethics, making ethical decisions. And this type of leader will empower those who serve under the leader. The next style we'll look at is passive leadership, also called hands-off. It's a hands-off approach. This type of leader typically avoids conflict. They don't like to give feedback, and they don't always set out performance goals. This type of leadership can be a double-edged sword. A leader using it in an inappropriate situation will cause incivility among the team because they don't see that they're needed, they don't see that they're being valued, they don't know what the goal of the team is. But when a leader uses this correctly, like when the team is skilled, loyal, and experienced and they don't need a lot of hands-on approach, this kind of leadership style can be very effective. The next style we'll look at is transformational leadership. A lot of motivation happens in this leadership style. A lot of influence and consideration given to the team. In this type of style, the leader really works with the team to help them develop a team goal instead of being out looking for meeting their individual needs and goals. They're meeting the needs and goals of the team. So regardless of what type of leadership style you're currently flowing in, there are ways to improve. Things to improve on are communication. It's important in every leadership style. Transparency. Look at your level of transparency. Does it need to be improved upon? And self-evaluation. Why do you lead the way you lead? Why are you making the decisions you make? And then get feedback from your team. Are there areas they think you could make improvement in? And if so, take classes, get a mentor, find ways to become the best leader you can. Because leadership is important. Without it, our teams are less effective and productive. And leadership isn't stagnant. It's alive. It's something that should be worked on and improved on every day. So take this advice and become the best leader you can be.